Hello. These endoscopes are kind of fun to play with, but I pulled it out today just to take a quick look. Right here, I have a swarm trap that I set in my backyard. If you can see, I have a bunch of planters in here, and this is the bee deck where I keep all my mating nukes and do my queen rearing and my fire pit and all my hanging gardens. But I put this swarm trap here, and it has a swarm, or at least it had a swarm in it. Now, I don't know what the status of the bees are, but this had 5 frames. I think. I'm not even sure what frames it had in it. If it had mediums or what it had. But this is an example of my swarm traps. Now, I don't build them like this anymore. As you can see, I have these clasps that hold the two pieces together. My initial idea with these was to be able to take the bottom half and transfer the bees and leave the top half in place, but it didn't work out, and it just ended up being a pain because, as you can see, it separates here, and I had a couple of them offset and gather a bunch of water. Now, this one's been here all summer. I had a swarm move into this in, I don't know, May or June, and I haven't looked at it since. Now, I know the bees were fine up until recently. Here in Philly, we've been dealing with cold, and as you can see, there's snow everywhere, and we're starting to warm up a bit. But we did have some dips down in the teens this week, low 20s, below freezing for sure. This swarm trap is 1/2-inch plywood. You can see probably here. It's 2 sections together with those clasps with a 1/2-inch lid. There's nothing fancy about this box anyway. It's intended to catch a swarm, bring it home, and transfer it. Now, I never got a chance to transfer this, so kind of curious as to what's going on inside this box. So we're going to take a look. This is my endoscope camera. I've mentioned this in a previous videos. It's great. It's got an adjustable light where you can make brighter or darker on the end of the camera. You can't see that in the video, obviously, but maybe you can see it in the reflection there. So I'm just going to give this a poke in and see what we see. So across the bottom, I see some cappings and, of course, some dead bees. I see a little bit of moisture on the sides. Like I said, these boxes it's 2 separate boxes, so there's a lot of space in here. So I'm just going to poke up and look, and it actually looks like I only have 10 frames. But as I peek up and in, I'm trying to get a little bit more length on my camera. I don't know if you can see the haze on the lens, but that's because there's a considerable temperature difference between outside the hive and inside the hive. I don't know if you can hear me because the camera's inside the box, but I'm pretty sure that the bees are still alive in this box. At least they're still on the comb. Whether or not they're alive, I don't know. My assumption is yes. But it looks like they're packed in the center frames there in the back. Yep, there they are. The bees are still alive. And there's a little lady taking a look. So this has, like I said, only 5 frames in it, but they did build off the bottom of those frames. You can see that wax there. That's 1 deep, and the rest of these are mediums, but they started to build off the bottom of those mediums. Now, I was expecting this to be really, really messy, but it actually looks pretty clean. And surprisingly enough, the bees are alive and well on the inside of this. We'll see how they fare through the rest of the winter, but the bees in this box are alive. That's a 1/2-inch box. Nothing fancy about this, just a swarm trap. But as you can see, cold does not kill the bees. They can survive the cold. Moisture is a problem. Running out of food is a problem. Of course, disease and pests are a problem. But this colony right here is doing just fine in the cold in a 1/2-inch box hanging on a fence. For those of you that have seen my videos, I have a lot of exposure to wind. I'm right next to the train tracks, so this gets it. This gets everything, and the bees are alive and well. So don't concern yourself too much with the bees and their warmth. They're gonna be okay with the proper precautions, and even sometimes without the proper precautions. Now this colony right here, if this colony makes it to spring, these are bees that I want. These are strong bees. These are bees that can survive the cold, that can manage pests, that can store the food that they need. It's been untouched. I haven't touched it at all, but these are the kind of bees that I'm looking for. These are the kind of bees that I wouldn't even think about treating. Would never think about putting oxalic acid or Apivar or whatever the hell those things are called. I'm not into it because of reasons like this. Because these bees right here, I've spent this whole summer in this box, done well, stored enough food, and they're still alive here in December. Now we got a long winter to go, but you know, we'll see. I'm pulling for these bees. I'm hoping that they make it. And they're the reason I do treatment-free beekeeping, because the bees can survive. They do not need treatments. Some bees will die. They will die. I'm going to lose bees. I know it. I know it already. I'm prepared for it. I probably have 50 plus colonies at this point, maybe close to 60. That certainly helps me not care about loss. But even for the average beekeeper, if you have a couple of hives, don't worry about it. Pull for the survivors. The ones that survive, make more. My recommendation is always keep more colonies. Keep them smaller. You can keep 4 5-frame setups in the same space that you could keep 2 10-frame setups. That gives you 4 queens. That gives you 4 colonies of resources. That gives you 4 different sets of bloodlines to work with. Take advantage of what you can where you can. To me, that's I think been tested and researched from Tom Seeley. I know he talked about colony size and smaller being better. I don't go crazy with researching what other people are doing. I'm kind of trying to do my own thing and making my own mistakes and learning my way, although I am paying attention to what other people do. But treatment-free beekeeping is what I do. And I can tell you that in doing so, not feeding sugar, only when you absolutely have to, makes a huge difference in the people that I sell my honey to. They love the fact that the bees don't get chemical treatments and they don't get refined sugars. You can market your honey that way and make more money in the right venues. And it's just so much better. The honey's just so much better. There's never a question as to whether or not I have sugar syrup in my colonies or if I'm selling sugar syrup honey. It's never a question because I don't put it out. I put my cut out honey out for the bees to eat and feed them back, dead out honey, but I won't feed them sugar unless I absolutely have to. And as you can see, there's a perfect example on this colony right here of bees that can survive on their own without treatments, without interventions, and something that most people would consider subpar conditions. There it is, folks. Treatment-free beekeeping. Boom. Get some. Thanks for watching.